Triangulation, an interesting word. I'm going to talk about what it means in terms of psychology. Triangulation is a form of manipulation. It describes a person's use of threats or of exclusion or manipulation. The goal is to divide and conquer. It involves the use of indirect communication, often behind someone's back. Triangulation is a manipulation tactic used to avoid a direct conversation which involves three parties. So think of what you learned in school about triangles. There were equilateral triangles that had equal sides. And if you think about that in terms of people in a relationship, everyone's equal, everything is up front, no one is hiding anything or talking behind another person's back. But then there were scalene triangles, and they had no equal sides. And you can see that even some of the sides are larger than the other, and perhaps for the purposes of this, more powerful. That is triangulation. There are no equal sides. In fact, the larger side is the manipulator, and the other two unequal sides are the ones being manipulated. And I'm going to show you another little diagram because this frequently happens in narcissistic personality disorder. So if you imagine that this is the narcissist and this is their supply wheel, and all the spokes on that are people in their lives that they may not see for a while and then they come back to. That's called hoovering. There may be love bombing going on, gaslighting. That's going to show up in triangulation as well. And triangulation is another marker within narcissistic personality disorder. But I want to ask you a question. Do you think that you have probably experienced triangulation before and may not even know it? Because I did. And before I even knew the word, I didn't realize that's what happened in my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples and see if you relate to any of these or if any of them seem familiar, or maybe you know somebody that is being triangulated. So if a parent refuses to acknowledge their child's personality and individualism, and at the same time, siblings are treated very differently and discouraged from communicating with one another except through the parent. So the parent is in control of the communication. That is triangulation. And this, as I said, shows up a lot in NPD because NPD can come from the golden child syndrome, whereas a child is idealized and can do no wrong. The scapegoat, however, is devalued and can only do wrong. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here's that wheel again, that supply wheel of a narcissist, and then a very simple diagram. So the narcissist triangulates one of their people on the supply wheel, pits them against another one, and that creates the triangle. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Change the names and everything else so no one will know who this is. But I had a client, and she had an older sister and a mother, and the father divorced the mother when they were young and then subsequently died. And the mother and the older sister thought he was a saint. They'd forgotten all of the things that happened within the dysfunctional family, and they thought he was a saint. And my client didn't. My client lived in the reality of the situation and how things had really gone down. However, because there were two of them who believed this belief that they had, they isolated her. They gaslit her. They said that her memory was not correct and this is what he actually was like. And they humiliated her to the point where she couldn't wait to leave home, and she left home as soon as she could, which was at the age of 16. And she's now in her 60s, and she spent a lot of that time in therapy, not all of it, and rebuilding her life and her relationship with her family. And it's only now that her sister is beginning to come around a little bit and see things as they really, really were. So that's a really clear example. There's much more to it. I mean, it gets involved with family heirlooms, and you can't have this and you can't do that. So I will move on. Similarly, if a partner or friend uses another person to create a hostile environment, create drama, or pressure you into doing things you wouldn't otherwise do, this is triangulation. So I want you to think about that if that's happening in your life. This can be with your colleagues, with your family members, with your partner, with your children, with your siblings. No one escapes. Individuals also use triangulation to bring another person into the relationship or friendship without confronting the person they have an issue with directly. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we have a wife, a husband, and a mother. So the mother is the mother of the wife. And the wife says to the husband, you know, my mother likes you, but she doesn't think you treat me very well. You don't show me a lot of attention. You don't show me a lot of emotion. Now, her mother, his mother-in-law, may have never said that. That might be a total lie. Gaslighting. But the wife wants something out of this. She wants more attention. So she is using somebody who isn't even in the room, not even in the conversation. And so the next time they visit her mother, his mother-in-law, he might become very demonstrative towards his wife, so that the mother-in-law likes him even more, because most of us do want to be liked. We don't want to be disliked and rejected. It's one of our deepest wounds. So what happens is the wife gets what she wants and what she needs. So it's a win-win for her, because then the husband gives her what she wants, and the mother will probably look more favorably at him anyway, because she likes the way he's treating her daughter. So control is the goal. People who have NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, use triangulation to enhance their feelings of superiority. And I showed you this, how they triangulate people on their supply wheel, so they can have superiority over them. And remember, there are no equal sides in this triangle when there is triangulation and manipulation. So they want to show feelings of superiority, raise their self-esteem, devalue other people, and keep potential competitors off balance and get their needs met. It's always about getting their needs met. So for example, let's say you're in a relationship with a narcissistic partner and they triangulate you with their ex-wife or ex-husband who's no longer on the scene. And they can use all kinds of triangulation and gaslighting, because the chances are that they probably don't even have a relationship with them anymore, but they can say, my ex-wife did that and you don't do that. My ex-husband cooked for me, made meals for me when I came home from work, and you don't do that. You don't care about me like he cared about me. And there you have it. The person doesn't even have to be in the room. In fact, sometimes in triangulation, the third party is deceased. A parent could say, your father would be so disappointed in you seeing you do that, living your life like that. Your sister would, your twin sister, your sister would be so upset seeing that you're doing that, or that that's the job that you chose, or whatever. So triangulation is a strategy that is used by many different types of people who have one thing in common. All of them have one thing in common. They feel insecure and are willing to manipulate others in hurtful ways to get more attention, sabotage a competitor, or feel safe in a relationship. When someone experiences triangulation, they may fear what other people think and feel. They may feel humiliated or concerned about what other people think about them, and then become self-protective. You might feel the need to set the record straight if you're in a triangulated relationship, or you may even want to confront the other people involved. However, by doing so, you allow the perpetrator, the triangulator, to win. Sometimes they're hoping for this kind of reaction, hoping that you'll lose control and act out on impulse and fear. So I'm going to give you some tips of things not to do. Don't respond quickly to unexpected or surprising news. Take a step back and consider the facts, okay? Try to get some clarity, sort out what's real, what's true, what's not true. Try your best not to lose your temper or lose control of your feelings. And don't make promises, commitments, or contracts that'll only hurt your relationship with people whom you trust and love. No one who truly loves you will want to take healthy, supportive, positive relationships away from you. Things that you can do: clarify anything you are told before acting on it. and stay in touch with loved and trusted ones in your life and tell them about any problems or issues that arise. So include other people. Share some of this information, because there's a lot of isolation that goes on in triangulation. Remove yourself from a conversation or relationship if you sense it turning into a baiting conversation where they're pitting you against another person. Okay? Maintain your self-control. This is how you keep your power and demonstrate that you will not be manipulated like that. So why is this important? Why am I telling you about this? Because as you know, in the Paradise Process, there are 4 steps to healing. The first one is awareness. The second one is acceptance. The third one is consciousness. And the fourth one is choice. This is awareness at its best. So I want you to become very aware. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get a pen and paper, do some journaling on this, or even better, create a list and write names of people in your life. We're not going to throw anybody under the bus. We're not going to blame anybody for anything. I just want to create some awareness. And I want you to write down next to their name how you feel when you're around them. Not what they've done, not what they've said, but how do you feel? This is all about coming inside, connecting with self, and how do you feel when you're around them? And what are your needs? Okay? So you'll create awareness. And then you can move on to accepting it for what it is, being aware of what it is, being honest and authentic about what it is. Then you will become much more conscious, which is what we want, and then you can make different and better choices. So I hope that's all clear. Thank you for coming on this journey with me today. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you soon.